beautiful wife, Janet. Without her, this would not all be possible. We're both pharmacists, and we opened our own independent pharmacy in 1998 in Moses Lake, Washington. It's in the middle of Washington State, kind of maybe a little bit more eastern. And the first thing you guys probably think of when you think of Washington is, well, so how much rain do you guys get, right? And we actually get less than 6 inches of rain where we're at. So we live in a desert, actually, in Washington State, and we're in the rain shadow of the Cascades. So that's why we live in a desert. And we live in an agriculture community. In fact, if you guys have eaten at McDonald's, let's admit it, we all have, chances are the French fries were actually grown in Washington State in our backyard, because Grant County is the biggest potato producer in the nation. And like 75% of all McDonald's French fries are made there. It's really, really amazing. And Lay's pig chips.
One of our pies and biscuits are made here in
All right. So Lay's potato chips, actually one of our patients farms 4,500 acres of potatoes, and they are the sole distributor of the plant in Portland, Oregon, which supplies most of Lay's potato chips. So we're pretty proud of that. So we opened our pharmacy in 1998. Partly because right early, I graduated from the University of Washington in 1994. I moved kind of back home where I was from and met my wife. The most important thing I did was meet my wife in 1993. She was actually my boss. I was an intern pharmacist, and she was a pharmacist already. She's from North Dakota State University. By the way, they're in the championship for the 8th time in football this Saturday. So it's an amazing story there. So I graduated in 1994 and realized that what was going on in healthcare, in pharmacy practice anyway, I did not like at all, and neither did she. So we decided to do something different, open our own pharmacy. And at the time, we were a full-service pharmacy. We were doing everything. We were doing, full-line prescriptions and billing all the insurances, and we were doing medical equipment. And then we just realized what a racket it was. The first insurance we ever turned away was, actually in the pharmacy industry it's a little bit different because there's another third party involved with the insurance company before the pharmacy, and it was called PCS, which was Prescription Card Services. And there was, we were being reimbursed 50 cents over our cost on a prescription. And that did over the drug cost. It didn't include the bottle, the vial, the label, none of that. So we turned that one away, and then we just slowly wheeled them out until we weren't taking any insurance anymore. And 2002 was the last insurance we stopped, and it was our state Medicaid. And we told them no because they were, as those insurance companies do, they just ratchet down on healthcare providers, and they just take advantage of them because we let them. And that's why anymore I don't feel sorry for healthcare providers that let that happen, because there is an option. You can say no. So in 2002 we said no to state Medicaid because they were decreasing the reimbursement by 25%. And of course all of our colleagues in the state were, including the big chains like Walmart and Walgreens, oh, we're going to say no, and then they'll have to pay us all more. And well, out of 1,400 pharmacies in the state, we were one of 7 that said no. And we got pushback from a lot of our medical providers. The doctors, they're like, I can't believe you guys are saying no to these poor Medicaid patients. And there was a lot of pushback. And our colleagues were telling us, you guys can't do this. You can't be cash only. You're going to be broke in a year. You need these insurance companies for the volume. And we're just like, well, we just know there's a better way. So, and in the meantime, many of our colleagues have went broke trying to build these government programs, and we've survived since 2002 and thrived. So, and we also realized that we felt, the straw that broke the camel's back one day is also when we had a patient come into us, and she was on Medicaid herself, and she was on prescriptions that were costing her nothing. But it was costing, they were $2,000+ a month. And it was one of Janet's patients for a long time. And she let Janet know that, she appreciated her care and stuff, but she literally had ate herself to death. And this really hit us. It's like she had all these comorbidities, and she was on all these medications, and we weren't really doing anything to help her with her health. We were just giving her medications that the taxpayers were paying and not really doing anything to educate her and empower her that she was in charge of her own health. So we actually, stopped it also because of that and because of the reimbursement issue. But that's when we changed our pharmacy model, and we have largely a health and wellness model now, and we're a custom type pharmacy where we compound medications and mix our own medications like pharmacists used to do. And we ship all over 3 states in the Pacific Northwest. But along that journey, meeting all these patients and all these doctors, because a lot of the doctors and providers that we work with just happen to be cash providers because that's what we were. So we had a lot of cash provider network providers that were sending us prescriptions because they had the same model that we did and they believed in that. And they realized what a racket some of the insurance programs and especially the government insurance programs were. So then in 2015, I just had it on my heart to write a book because I just realized that education and empowering patients and other healthcare providers that, you know what, you don't have to be bullied, you don't have to be a slave to the system. You can empower yourself and thus empower your patient to take charge and be in charge in a true free market. So I started writing a book in 2015, and then I had all these great ideas and a long list of ideas that I tried to put on paper. And then I realized that, I'm a pharmacist, not a book writer, when I started trying to write it. So I hired somebody to help me, and that was one of the best things that I ever did. And one of the things and it was during that process, I actually used an online site called Upworks. I don't know if any guys are familiar with that, but it was a great process, and I found Crystal. She's out of Minnesota. And in that process, I didn't put anything in there. I just put, I'm writing a book. My book is called Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare and How to Fix It. And so right away, that already, creates some controversy in people's minds. And in that process, I remember one of the feedbacks was this person wrote me back and talked about how much Obamacare helped her and Obamacare has saved this nation. I said nothing about Obamacare. It was just sickened how the government ruined healthcare. Now in my book, I do write about that, but I never said anything in the actual resume to find people to help me. But that's kind of it's such a hot topic right now that just automatically came up, and that's what was said. So I found Crystal, and as you guys know, it's getting better. But when you first started, especially in 2002, people thought I was crazy. And still, when you talk to some people and say, "Oh no, people can actually pay for their own health care, and we don't need the government to do it. It doesn't have to be expensive." Well, what about a baby that ends up in the ICU that's $750,000? Well, the reason it is $750,000 is because somebody else is paying the bill. That's really it doesn't have to be that way. And there's a sensationalized story that, as you guys know, maybe some, are familiar with health sharing ministries and health sharing programs are not all ministries anymore. There's some that are not faith-based. There was a big sensationalized story the Seattle Times did about somebody that had one of those, and they usually cap at $250,000. And so Seattle Times basically wrote a big article about how the government should regulate these because look at this baby, their baby ended up in the ICU with a $750,000 charge, and the reality of it is that Harborview Medical, that was taking care of the baby, they found out that they had a health sharing ministry and they knew it was going to be expensive. So I'm getting a little off topic, but I'm very passionate about this subject because I want to educate people about it. But they found out that, you cap at $250,000. Okay, so what we need you to do is we need you to qualify for state Medicaid, and then we can bill state Medicaid with $750,000 because they know that that's what we do, right? But the reality of it is the price should have never been that much in the first place. So that's the whole thing about the free market. So anyway, Crystal, I chose Crystal. I think she was still thinking I was a little bit wild. She's like, "Man, you guys, your ideas are just crazy." But she did pick me, and I sent her a video of Dr. Smith being interviewed by John Stossel, which a few years after we went cash only, I saw this program on John Stossel, and I saw Oakland Surgery Center of Oklahoma, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not the only crazy one. I mean, all right, we have a cash pharmacy, but here's a guy that has a surgery center that's cash, and it's no surprises, and here's the price, it's transparent. I said, that's really cool. So at the time, I thought it was just great. And I sent her the video, and next thing I know, she's just a superstar. Next thing I know, she reached out to Dr. Smith, and she calls him, and she's like, well, Dr. Smith says he's interested in doing an interview with you. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So that's kind of the connection how I got to know Dr. Smith. And I interviewed him. It's on our podcast YouTube site, which is actually the Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy YouTube site. And that interview was on there with Dr. Smith. And that's the connection there. I just always wanted to come down and meet him and to the Oakland Surgery Center, be with like-minded people, because we're not crazy. And after our first phone conversation with Crystal was a part of, it was a conference call, she gets out the phone, she says, Shawn, you basically found somebody crazier than you, Dr. Smith did. I mean, totally. And so then she was like, you know what, you're not the only one. And it just made me feel right at home. It's like, you know what, this is not a crazy idea. And I mean, some of the example I love to give, in fact, Dr. Smith has a quote on my book cover. And my book is available on Amazon, Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare. It's 99 cents. It's a quick read, 114 pages. You can read it in a couple hours, if that. And I would appreciate you guys download it and leave it an honest review if you could. One of his quotes was, and this, I always go away from things, and I always think, man, everywhere I go, do I just think it's a government conspiracy? Everywhere I go, it's like, is this the government's, I think everything, the government causes most problems, right? And Dr. Smith said something to me that was just so powerful. He said, with Medicare, he said Medicare is the only insurance company that has F-16s and tanks backing it. And when you think about that, that is so true. That is so true. And he allowed me to put that on the cover of my book. And this is one thing he said too, in a different conversation. It's still in that quote. And when I was doing that, when he was billing Medicare, billing these government programs, he was an accessory to the crown. And I think about that, and I am so liberated now because I do not have to feel like I'm an accessory to the crown anymore. And I really honestly do believe that if healthcare providers are billing government programs, they are an accessory to the crime. And that's why we need to promote what we are doing here at the Free Market Medical Association. Because there is another way, and it is the best thing for our patients, because a free market is the only thing that is going to be the best service at the best price for our patients. So I'm going to welcome any questions. You guys have any questions? I have a few cards to hand out if you'd like. Our radio show podcast is called Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. It's on all the podcast forums, and our YouTube site has them archived also, and we stream live every Monday on my Facebook and on the radio. And I'm Shawn Needham, and it's on my Facebook page. So I love to answer your questions. First of all, financially, it didn't matter to me at all. You could not pay me enough money to go back to that system. Literally, you could not pay me enough money. I do not want to be. I feel so free with what we do. We do what we want, the best interest for our patients, and we love it. We love it. It was either we got out of pharmacy, which we were close to doing. It's like you either get out of this mess, which is what most pharmacists do. They hate it so bad after they graduate. The average pharmacist stays a pharmacist for like 5 or 6 years now. That's horrible. And there's some statistics in my book also about doctor burnout. Well, why do doctors hate what they're doing? They don't hate taking care of the patients at all. That's why they became a doctor. They want to take care of patients. But the insurance nightmare, I have never met any doctor, whether they're on any side of the political spectrum, that likes doing that part. So thriving, for one thing, is the thriving part for me is that we are liberated. We are liberated from that, and we have created an environment that we get to decide, along with another provider, how we take care of the patients. It's a great thing. We don't have anybody in between us. So and financially, I mean, we have survived, and we do very well. I mean, we do better than if we worked for as two pharmacists for another pharmacy and for other pharmacies. And not only that, but one of the ways we've thrived, Our pharmacy is open Monday through Friday. We actually close 12:30 to 1 for lunch. We've been at those sweatshops where the pharmacists don't get lunches, don't get breaks. We were not going to have that. And our pharmacy closes actually at 12:30 on Fridays. And we've created a great family environment for our employees to work because we believe in family, and for us and our employees, and then we can take care of our patients better. Because our patients need somebody that is not burnt out taking care of them, right? So that's how we thrive. Yes, sir.
You take care of your patients better, and your competition is CVS and Walgreens. I just saw CVS is now taking UPS drop-offs. They will do anything possible to get somebody through the door. Not that the CVS or Walgreens pharmacists are bad people, but tell us how you practice pharmacy different than how a CVS or Walgreens pharmacist who has maybe a drive-through and 6 or 8 cars on a Friday night and a room full of people waiting. And you talked about the comorbidities of your patient, the lady, and how you started to manage her pharmaceutical needs. How is that different than what they get at CVS and Walgreens? Why should we go to an independent pharmacist instead of?
Yeah, so I can speak for our pharmacy, and I can also say this, that there are certain independent pharmacies that they're playing the same game as CVS and Walmart or Walgreens or whatever. I mean, they don't take care of their patients. Like, they don't have the personal relationship that we do. First of all, we know all of our patients, and even if we don't see them, we do a lot of mail order. I have nothing against mail order, but the pharmacists consult their patients. We know our patients. We know them personally. We care about them. I mean, your average pharmacist average, and this is nothing personal. It's nothing personal towards any pharmacist individually. The average pharmacist at CVS, they don't care about their patient. They don't know about their patient. They are clocking in to get their hourly pay, and that is it. And I think I can speak of that, like in my book too. Part of the solution, to the free market solution, has to be us as healthcare providers. It has to be us as pharmacists, as nurses, and as doctors. And like Dr. Smith says, he's no longer an accessory to the crime. Part of the solution in my book is healthcare providers have to step out and say, we're not going to be an accessory to the crime anymore. That's the only way we're going to fix the system and ultimately take the best care of the patient. So that's what I think makes us different. It's that personal relationship.